Good afternoon, everyone. That's rolling in early before we get started. I already see that we have 9 participants in the room, so thank you once again for joining me today. We'll get started here in a little bit because I know there was, as always, a good number of people that had registered for this event. So I'll wait to see if we can get our number of attendees up there. While we're waiting, though, just know that I guess you're noticing, as always, that these sessions are being recorded. But it is in a webinar style format, so you can keep your cameras off. There's really not that much, I guess, visual engagement from you all. This is more a chance for me to share some resources from our office and for you to learn about all the wonderful things that we have going on with the topic that we'll be discussing here shortly. Like I said, I'll wait a couple more minutes or so, maybe till like 3:31-ish to see if we get any more folks joining us. But for those of you that are here, once again, thank you for being on time. Also, I just want to double check. I know I always do this whenever I have these sessions, even for webinars that I host for students, but early on, if I can, maybe get someone in the chat to let me know that things are working on their end. You're able to hear my voice, see all the things. I will be sharing my screen shortly, so obviously if that's not working, let me know. Dan, thank you for the heads up. I'll do my best, as always, to try to pay attention to the webinar chat, also the Q&A feature. If you do have questions, I invite you to try to put them in there, which makes it easier for me to find any particular questions that you might have. But once again, the expectation is for you to potentially hang out, relax, and learn a couple of things on today's topic, which, seeing that we're at 3:31 and I'm not noticing the participant number climb anymore, we can dive right in. So, hello, everyone. My name is Luis Santiago. My pronouns are he and him, and I get the pleasure to serve as the Associate Director of Coaching Operations here at UW Seattle's Career and Internship Center. Many of you are probably already familiar with who I am and what we're doing here with these particular sessions, but if this is your first time, welcome. We here at the Career and Internship Center, we host at least 2 of these career readiness partner sessions every quarter. We think it's extremely important for faculty and staff to be aware of the types of services that we offer on a myriad of different things, because we know that not every single student here at the University of Washington is going to be able to engage with our office directly. We're an elective service. Some folks don't even know that we exist, but they hopefully know that you all exist and that they engage with you all in some way, shape, or form. So our hope with these CRP sessions, Career Readiness Partner Sessions, is to once again highlight a couple of our services, our resources. Certainly today's topic is going to be around supporting the career development of students with diverse identities. It's overall just a chance once again for us to share some of the cool things that we think is beneficial and helpful for students. And hopefully you all will be able to learn a little bit more about some of the things that we do, and then when appropriate, share those resources to the students that you tend to work with in your spaces. So that being said, I want to make sure that I'm able to share my screen, because a lot of what these sessions tend to be is showing you where you can find a lot of the amazing tools and resources that we have on our website. So I'm going to share my screen. Hit the share button. And I also just want to make sure that the sharing is working. So once again, if I can get someone maybe in the chat to let me know that the shared screen is visible on your end. Thank you, Lisa. So excellent. That being said, I think what will also be beneficial if you're maybe working on one monitor, I'll go ahead and turn off my camera because you don't necessarily probably want to notice just my wonderful features. You might want to focus more on the resources that we have on the site. So I'm going to turn off my video, but I still will be able to view chat or Q&A. So if you do have questions at any point in time, feel free to put them in the Q&A, maybe put them in the chat, and we'll go from there. As I mentioned, a lot of the things that we do here is going to be discussing resources and tools that you all as staff and faculty can benefit from. Just as a quick reminder, you can find all of the sessions that we host at least twice a quarter, all these various topics, right on our website under the People We Serve section, and you'll see staff and faculty. We have numbers of resources, featured videos. All the sessions that we've done in the past are also located here. So if you haven't already done so, please make sure that you're engaging with this site when appropriate, or even better, try to sign up for notifications whenever we have new things happening on this page. If you're signed up for notifications, you'll become aware of that. So just wanted to quickly plug that. And now we can dive into some of the resources that we have on our site that's specifically geared to provide tools, resources, career guidance, assistance for students that have diverse identities, which of course, there are a number of those. I mean, gosh, every single individual has a unique identity specific to them. So we think it's important as a center to make sure that we are tailoring our services and our resources to those particular individuals. So some of the initial things that we wanted to highlight today are going to be the resources that I have up on the screen, starting with our community resources. And you're seeing on the screen that I'm highlighting over these interest and identity resources. If I scroll a little bit further down, you'll see the box. And this is really highlighting two different things. On the left-hand side of the screen, you're seeing career interest communities that we potentially discussed in the past, or maybe you're already familiar with. If students are interested in a particular career field that's represented on the chart, that's a great place to really get a lot of up-to-date information that's happening about that field on our campus. I like to call it like an online bulletin board. So that's specifically the interest communities. What we're seeing on the right-hand side are now the identities and affiliations that a student might identify with, depending on where they fit with their own social identity. There are 8 listed there, and we do want to call out the fact that we understand that this may not be representative of all the different types of identities that are in existence. One thing to really, I guess, closely pay attention with regard to why we chose these particular 8 categories is because of the fact of making sure that we can actually provide resources and tips or career relevant things to individuals with different identities. Some of those resources might be a little bit more difficult to find, but thankfully with the ones that we have addressed here, we have been able to find a robust number of different things that could be beneficial for those students. What that looks like is very similar to pretty much any of the community pages that we have on our site. So I've gone ahead and clicked on the one titled for first generation students. I can still even navigate to any of the other 8 identity pages when I drop down this drop down menu here. But typically speaking, once I get to this tan or gold bar, you'll get a better sense of the type of content that we have on these identity pages. Not all of them are built the exact same way, but the majority of them will have the following things, like featured articles from trusted resources or sites that are pertaining to the said identity that we are particularly looking at right now. This one is for first gen students. We have listed maybe different departments or centers on campus that the students might want to get affiliated with, which you see on the right-hand side. All of our community pages, whether it's career interest pages or identity pages, also have a widget for the Husky Landing Alumni Career Tool. Great way for when mentors that are in that database have clicked on their profile that they have a particular identity that they want to showcase to the students in that network. They automatically get filtered and show up on here. So they show up on the page. news articles, like I said, student stories, once again, that are filtered out by the identity that we are focusing on, videos, student orgs on campus that students may want to consider engaging with or becoming affiliated with. And then featured resources is typically the bottom of the page. So as you're noticing just with a quick scroll, there are a number of different resources that a student may potentially benefit from. One huge thing that we are really trying to push this particular academic calendar year, and to be quite honest, as we continue to move forward in the future, is to try to get more individual students aware of the fact that not only these resources exist, but they can subscribe to these pages on our websites in order to get up-to-date information. So as an example, if we have a new post that we have on this page, if a student has subscribed to this page, they will be able to get a newsletter on a weekly basis with any new information that gets posted. The same way that I alluded to how you all as faculty and staff can create pages or create accounts on our website as a staff and faculty, and you get your own personalized newsletter, students can do the same thing. So if there's one thing that you can potentially recall from this particular conversation that we're having this afternoon, is trying to encourage students to use the button that you'll typically find on pretty much all of our pages on the right-hand side. Click here to subscribe. That way they can stay on top of any of the news that's happening within, once again, any of these areas. And this is just specifically with the identity pages. I know some of the ones that we have listed here, once again, have more robust resources than others, but primarily speaking, the vast majority of them are going to have the same amount of information similar to what we're seeing here on the first gen page. So, just real quick, because I am noticing, Lisa, in the chat, what happens when you describe message every day, etc. Subscribe. So I guess what happens when you subscribe instead of describe? Yeah, so subscribing is just giving you access to a newsletter. And you can indicate, I think the frequency, either daily or weekly. I think the default is weekly, that you can get a newsletter, and you can actually indicate what type of information you want to get personalized in your newsletter. So you can say that you want to get information from the student veterans page. And once again, anytime that we post new information on that page, it gets added to your weekly newsletter. You can also do that for any of the other career interest areas, or maybe just our front page blog, which if I just go to our homepage, you'll also notice latest news. This is our front page blog that we have. So you can really personalize the newsletter that you get on a weekly basis to the specific content areas that you want to become aware of. If you just want the latest news on our front page, you can just subscribe to that. You want the front page news and you want news from any of the identity resources, that's great. Maybe you want to know when we have career fairs coming up. You can also subscribe for different types of events as well. So pretty cool tool. And all you have to do is just, once again, click on any of the subscribe sections. Click here to subscribe, and you'll be able to access that. I also know if you're on the page, if you go to our website, careers.uw.edu, on the top right now, you see my page says welcome Lewis, but if you're not signed in, it'll say something to the effect of log in here. And that's another place where you can create your account. So hopefully that answers the question in the chat. Going back to some of the other topics that we wanted to share, resources that we have for students that have different identities. We all should be pretty familiar with the fact that here at the University of Washington, we have a robust international student population. So this is clearly an opportunity for us as a career center to try to provide a chance for these students to become aware of their career options and internships options, which can be a bit tricky for the international students because of the fact that they're here on a student visa, not necessarily having a work visa. So this is something that is huge in our office in terms of trying to help students try to find work off campus. On-campus work for international students is probably the easiest option for them, but many of them are seeking other types of work experiences, specifically internships in career fields that they want to pursue after they graduate. Now, some of you might be familiar with our Handshake job tool. That is the primary tool that we offer for students, where they're able to apply to different jobs and internships that companies are posting only for our UW students to be able to see and to apply to. And although Handshake does have a way for international students to filter out which companies are open to hiring them as international students, there isn't, as always, a robust amount of options for those students within Handshake. So over a year ago, our office went ahead and was able to get access to another job and internship search tool called InterStride. And what's amazing about this particular tool is that its primary focus is to assist students that are international. So any student, this is once again InterStride, you can find it, UW InterStride can be a Google search. I'll also remind you all that the recording that's being shared will be sent to you, as well as an email with a number of different links that I'm showcasing today. So after the session, you will get an email with a link to InterStride. Very easy to log in. As long as you have a UW email, you should have access to it. I know I'm already logged in, and it takes me directly to the page, which has a number of different amazing tools. Not only the jobs page, where I can go in, click on jobs, and I'm allowed to search in a number of different facets. Goodness gracious, you can see the large amount of opportunities that are listed in this page. But if I really just click filters here, it allows for me to probably search for things that are here within the Washington area. If it wants to just show me Washington, I can put Seattle. Even just with that simple search, Seattle, Washington, what do we have here? Over 5,000 different opportunities. I can search by the different types of companies that are typically hiring students based on the different types of work visas that they can get. Or maybe I can just filter by all companies, which you can see the listing there. Once again, it's an amazing tool to provide more options for our international students outside of the Handshake database. And not only does it provide ways for students to be able to find job and internship options, but there's also ways for students to network with other international students, not only at University of Washington, but nationwide, because this tool is a tool that's offered nationwide. There's a Learn section. They offer tons of different webinars and opportunities for students to learn about how to navigate the job search process here in the United States, if it is that they want to continue living here after they graduate, different other tools and resources with regard to visa and immigration. So it really is an amazing online tool, career guidance tool, specifically for international students. And we can't sing the praises of it enough. You'll find a lot of times on our website, if I go back to our page, let's see if I go to the home page. We typically will post any of the webinars that InterStride is hosting on our events page, which is always going to be showing on this right-hand side of the homepage. As you can see, March 20th, actually there's a couple, 3 different webinars that we have here coming up in the near future that is sponsored by InterStride. So even at the very least, if you aren't aware of the site itself, students can hopefully find and get connected with the type of webinars that they offer through our student event calendar. Another great tool or company that we have partnered with on a number of occasions that works specifically with international students is a company known by Mentor X. The name of the company is Mentor X. And their primary way of assisting students is pretty much providing personalized career coaching for job consultations. They regularly come to our campus at least once a quarter to provide free consultations for students. What you're seeing on the screen right now is a time that we had promoted this on our front page blog, letting students know that they were coming on campus. This is another great reason, if I go back to the idea of subscribing to a page. Remember, one of the identity pages that we offer is international students. So this particular blog post that you're seeing on the screen right now, not only was it showing up on our front page blog, we also made sure to post this on our international students career interest page. So if any student had already subscribed to that page, they would have been aware of Mentor X coming because they would have gotten that in their weekly newsletter that they are getting because they're subscribed. So just another example as to why subscribing to some of the content on our website can be a very, very powerful tool. At this stage, I know we have a couple of minutes left, so I just want to quickly talk about a few more tools and resources that we have partnerships with or are promoting on our website. Enriched Scholarship Program is also a new career coach type of tool that can be offered for students. And this is specifically, as you can see here in bold, college students, recent graduates, and young professionals of color. And just by those types of students that match those criteria, by applying to this particular program, they have free access to an online platform that basically is connecting them to a tool like career coaching, like mentors that are able to provide ideas with career guidance depending on the particular career field that the student wants to pursue. It's very easy for students to be able to at least apply to see the opportunities to engage with this particular program. And once again, it's free. So they reached out to us. I want to say it's been a little bit less than a year that we partnered with them. We are still in the early phases of trying to get students to engage with this tool, which is why we thought it was extremely important to make sure that we pointed out to you all so that way you can start spreading the word of what this particular program does. But overall, it's basically providing students once again with their own personalized career coach and a number of different outlets with mentors and programs to connect them with what they might want to pursue. One of the last things that I want to discuss, well, two things that I want to bring up here that we're reaching the tail end of this webinar. I know earlier this year, we discussed a lot about the different types of ways that we try to connect students to alumni and mentors. One of those offerings is our industry mentorship program, which it's something that we host. You can see when you click on the actual page for the industry mentorship program, we have different fields that are focused on throughout the year. Typically speaking, fall quarter is non-tech and tech roles. Winter quarters might be health and life sciences. Upcoming this spring, we're going to have opportunities for students to connect with mentors in the nonprofit government sector. One of the important things that we strive to do with that program, and this is a program that's run by one of our staff members, Lauren Sevilla, is to try to make sure that we can do mentor pairings based on identities. So we ask mentors to be able to share early on in the application process what their particular identities that they want to share and discuss. And also students can indicate that as well, because the hope is to try to have students be able to connect with people that are like them. It's such a powerful tool when it comes to mentoring and networking, to be able to see someone that matches your identities perform well and reach their career goals. So we want to try our best to ensure that with a program like this, that we can provide that type of pairings properly. I know I said this before, but that's another good point to discuss once again, going back to our identity pages and specifically the career interest pages. You'll also, when you click on any one of these pages, see people, once again, from the Husky Landing Network. So even just throughout our website, we are trying to find ways so that way students can not only connect through career interest areas, but also, I think I showed earlier, with identity as well. So I'll go back to the first gen one, and already you're seeing, once again, the people from the Husky Landing. Great way to connect with people that share your identities. That overall provides a quick glance of some of our online tools that are easily accessed, available for students, as well as faculty and staff to be able to see, read a little bit more on it on your own, so that way you become familiar with it and feel comfortable promoting it to students. As I mentioned, I will make sure to email, and actually, I can probably stop sharing at this point and go back to my camera. Here we go. So at this stage, not only will I be able to share a lot of these tools and resources via email once we're done with this, but I also wanted to call out just one more thing that you'll see in an email later today, the opportunity to engage with our office as a whole. So you might already be aware, but we are actually hosting an open house during spring break, March 20th. So there's still time if you have an interest to coming in, meeting our staff, getting to know our space a little bit more. If you've never been to Mary Gates Hall, room 134, we invite all faculty and staff, advisors, anyone that within the UW community, if you're hanging out here still during spring break and want to get a chance to engage with our office and learn a little bit more from our staff members and who we are as a whole, I will make sure to add this RSVP link in the email as well, so that way you can consider coming and hanging out with us. So that being said, I always want to make sure that I'm mindful of time and that we finish on time. So we reached the end of what it is that we wanted to share with you today. If you have questions or things that you want to bring up, I'm still able to hang out for a couple more minutes. I know, once again, the main way to engage with this particular webinar, you can either type things into the chat, or if you want to raise your hand, I can unmute you and you can discuss things that way if you so choose. But if not, we thank you for joining us today. We hope that you were able to learn a little bit from some of the screens that I shared. And yeah, just look forward to the email that I'll be sending later this afternoon. That's going to have a collection of all the different things that we discussed during the webinar. So like I said, I'll hang around just a little bit more if you have any particular questions that I can try to help with. But if not, thanks again for joining us today. And we look forward to helping you out in the future and maybe seeing you at our open house. So thanks again, everyone.